There's a few things that I really, really, really love in the world. Coffee, that's one. Leicester City Football Club, that's another. The Dillinger Escape Plan, that's a really, really big one. I fucking love the Dillinger Escape Plan. They are one of the most vital, talented, fearless, important, brutal, sinister and just plain life-affirming bands that has ever stringed up a guitar. And anything that they've got to say, I'm listening. Any kind of project they put out, I'm keen to hear it. Particularly that of Greg Puciato, the singer of Dillinger Escape Plan, who's already put out some really interesting stuff, including Killer Be Killed, the awesome thrash metal kind of sludge project, all-star super project that he did with Max Cavalera and Troy Sanders from Mastodon, as well as a drummer from the Mars Volta. I think they've got the drummer from Converge now, so even better. So he really, when he says he's got some kind of side project or some other kind of band in the works, I really want to hear what he's got to do, because he's such a talented singer. He can do it all, and yeah, everything that he's actually done, including his stellar work with Dillinger Escape Plan, is always a worthwhile thing to check out. And his latest project, which is called The Black Queen, and their album Fever Daydream, has been pretty much in my head, on my CD player, on my phone, on the iPad, in constant rotation since I heard it, and it came out on Friday. And of all the side projects, including Killer Be Killed, I think this is his best. So usually I would not review things outside of the rock and metal world on this channel, but I'm going to make an exception for Greg Puciato, and well, mainly for the link with Dillinger Escape Plan, very much, rock, metal, hardcore, fine, but also because it's just a fucking brilliant, brilliant record. And I say things are fucking brilliant quite a lot, but this, it's going to take some beating. There's so many great albums that have came out in the last few weeks. There's so much new music that I'm almost kind of spoiled for choice. 2016 has started off really, really strong, but there's albums that aren't even getting a look in at the moment because I'm listening to this tasty little thing. I'm pointing at my phone because I haven't got the CD with me. It's really kept brilliant albums like by Tooth Grinder, by Milk Teeth. I haven't even checked out the new Dream Theater album, but it's kept that completely out of my radar because it's so good. What's good about it? Well, I like synth pop. I like electronic music as well, but it has to be really, really good for me to actually pay attention to it. It has to be a cut above or do something really, really different. Now, having one of my favourite singers ever in the band is certainly enough to pique my interest anyway. But this is something else. And the incredible thing about it is that it's so poles apart from what project Greg Puciato has done before. It's a completely different animal. And you know what, with a little bit of radio play, a little bit of promotion, some well-placed kind of gigs and things like that, and some good press coverage, this could actually be genuinely big, genuinely huge, because the same things that make a band like Chromeo popular or The Weeknd popular are all on here. And you know what? They're executed in a really distinctive, interesting, proficient way. It's easy for me to say, oh yeah, they're executed better just because I like the band, but they're executed in a different way. It sets it apart, but it just goes toe to toe with all the great electronic kind of pop music that's around. And I'm not talking about the kind of the mainstream stuff that people like Justin Bieber have tried to adopt. I'm talking about the original kind of sound that these guys are trying to ape. So the best way to think about it is like a miserable chromio. You've still got that beautiful layering, you've still got that way that it harks back to the 80s, layered, dense synth pop sound, but it's just got like a real kind of dark undertone and kind of shoegaze feel to it as well. And it's all the better for it. So, songs on here, standout moments, well, the album works best as a whole, really, listening to from start to finish. But I know a lot of people don't listen to albums from start to finish, but are there any kind of gems? Are there any hit singles and things that I can pick out on there? Well, yes, there is actually. Ice to Never is one of the best pop songs I've heard in the last 5 years. Easy. What an incredible chorus. It's just got that beautiful kind of like busy kind of like electronic work, really kind of dense start before absolutely exploding into a beautiful kind of 80s pop beat. That kind of kick drum feel to it. It reminds me of like of Prince's albums from the late 80s. It reminds me of Peter Gabriel's albums from the late 80s. So we're talking about really kind of sophisticated kind of adult kind of pop, but it's really fun at the same time. It's not just dark, serious, pretentious electronic music for people, you know, with like a real narrow hipster sense of what's good and what's not. It's just an album that anyone can enjoy, particularly with this song. The chorus just absolutely explodes, as I say. It's one of Greg Puciato's best vocal performances. It's so smooth and catchy, and it just hits like a brilliant, beautiful tone. And then also the end where we start, I think it's called. Let me just check. Yeah, the end where we start. Absolutely knockout perfect. It's also a brilliant, really catchy pop song, but in a different way. This is more of a dark Depeche Mode kind of thing, but I'm talking Depeche Mode, more the deep cuts than the kind of the big hits. So something from Violator, but like a real kind of deep cut of Violator. I know that's the best selling album, so deep cut probably doesn't cut it, but you know, shut up. Brilliant. So yeah, this is a much more kind of darker thing with more breathy falsetto vocals, and like a lot of it on here, it just reminds me of like a real dreamy landscape. This is kind of music that that you hear in that state where you're between being awake and dreaming still. It just kind of conjures up memories of like, I don't know, I'm thinking about like kind of parts of my childhood and stuff when I'm listening to this. Those kind of weird kind of dreamy states. I'm thinking of like walking through like a frozen forest and things. And it kind of paints that image throughout. So there's these kind of brilliant pop hits. I mean, Secret Scream as well is just a really kind of sleazy but kind of sexy, sultry, soulful, and all the S's pop song, where again you've got it's really made by the vocal, but the beautiful, intricate, subtle beats underneath it just really underpin a really rewarding listen. And it just continues just all the way through it. As I say, from start to finish is the best way to listen to it. But it certainly takes a more ambient turn in the middle of the album. But it's still well worth pursuing. Maybe some of it's not as instant. But then once you actually get to the end, you start really kind of getting to those instant kind of classy songs again. So there's a song called Taman Should. Don't know what that means, but it's a brilliant, brilliant song. And really, again, hooky but progressive at the same time. And when you get to the final song, Apocalypse Morning, it really reminds me of Disintegration era Cure. I know I said that on the No Devotion video, but it's a real kind of touchstone because it's kind of gothic, kind of moody, melancholy but epic in scope, and a really beautiful, beautiful way to the end of the album. Cannot recommend this album enough, although I feel like I have recommended it quite a lot. But it's going to take some beating to dislodge this from my top albums when we get to the end of the year. At the moment, this is an absolute fucking shoo-in because it's one of the best side project kind of albums I've heard, and it really struck me in a way like the No Devotion album, where it's not 100% my kind of music, but when I heard it, there was something about it that intrigued me, and it's something that I kind of want to live in this little world of this album. So yeah, the Black Queen Fever Daydream, cannot recommend it enough. When I actually get rid of this album, or kind of put it on the back burner a little bit, enough to listen to some other stuff, I'm going to do some other reviews, because there are some great albums, as I say, that have come out, which I really want to talk about. But in the meantime, check out some beautiful synth-wave, soulful pop music. And if you've not listened to Dillinger Escape Plan in a while, whack it on there, annoy the neighbours, fry your brain. In the meantime, I'm going to have a little cup of coffee, and I will catch you later. Bye!